Oh,
record on the
recording.
yes.
Hello, Gary Ramsey. Welcome to Pizazz News. So, for everybody watching this,
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. It is officially like 12 o'clock, so we got to spend Christmas together. Gary's in New York, he's in New
Yes.
Jersey, I'm in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. And so Gary is like phenomenal. And if you've seen any of my Pizazz News stuff, you'll know just how much I adore Gary. And but today was just a wonderful thing in the universe that just got us together, and wanted to bring Gary on to come and talk to us about what is going on with him at the moment, because Gary was diagnosed with cancer in 2015, and he had a miraculous recovery. And in 2021, he's had another diagnosis. And Gary, if you would
Yes.
help me with this, and
Yes.
tell me tell everybody what's happened between
So
those two.
for those of you that don't know the story, for those of you that don't know the story, in 2015, I was literally told at my diagnosis I was going to die at any minute, and there was no possibility of surviving
Yes.
because of what the tumor was doing, and it was deadly, and it was going towards my heart. It had gone through the kidney renal vein towards the heart. Those are considered deadly. And the doctor said, don't even waste your time because you don't have that much time. He said, you could be dead by tonight. All right.
Yeah.
So I kind of went on this journey, which I've called Bliss in my book, Bliss, One Hero's Journey, where all of a sudden things fell in my lap. And I found a place in Mexico that agreed with the doctors in New York, but said they have a therapy of something they do prior to surgery to safely remove these tumors, and that they've had success.
Yep.
People have died, but they've had success. So I
Yep.
tried it.
Yep.
I really didn't ever believe I would survive. I really went to Mexico to die in a beautiful place because it's very beautiful. It's right on the Baja.
Yep.
And just to have a lovely going out.
Yep.
And it worked.
Yep.
It
So
worked.
rather
So the
than
miracle occurred.
playing mental gymnastics with yourself, you received the terrible news from the doctors in the US. You went, right, okay, this is just facts, medical facts here.
Yes.
This is happening. You accepted it. And you just went, okay, I understand this is happening. And you found an alternative that could help, a therapy that can help. It may not help, but there was also a possibility it could, and you just decided to go that way. No matter what, you already accepted it. So you went into it empowered rather than disempowered.
Exactly.
And that's something that I've learned to see things like that so much in my life, where I have terrible news, and it's the more I try to fight it, the more I hurt myself with it, because not only do I get the shit news, but I've also got to, I keep rehashing it, and it affects my life. And it's just like, to live your world like everything is crap and that there's no point is a horrible existence. Horrible. So
yes,
to continue with the story that you were saying, so you go to St. Aviv, you undergo the treatment that they had prior to the surgery, and it was a success.
Yes.
You finished.
Total.
Thank you, St. Aviv. You're awesome. Back to the US, and you pretty much resumed your life, but with but like Jesus Christ, you resurrected. You're resurrected from the dead, and you're like spreading the good news.
Yes.
And writing about it, just like what Jesus did, and all the other wise sages of the time. You wrote the good book, Bliss, One Hero's Journey.
Yes.
And you've been spreading it out into the universe. All these are facts and true. And now
I got hit.
And now what's happening?
So I started once again experiencing problems. As a matter of fact, on the day of the problem, I was walking to work and no longer knew where I was going, who I was, or what was happening.
Yeah.
Period. And that was really fabulous. I wasn't even afraid. I didn't even know there was a problem, really.
Yeah.
It was one of the most lovely.
And just so everybody knows, it's not drug related. It's not an acid trip.
No,
You're not on anything. It just happened.
but what had happened is I had a swelling in my brain, and that's
Okay.
why I did it. It
Okay.
took my left side of my brain and pushed it to the right. So I was kind of, well, I was having a spiritual experience. I was
Yeah.
having like this, wow, how fabulous. And the doctors really didn't know, what was going on. And then finally, they found that the cancer had spread to the brain and to the lungs, and it was
Okay.
metastatic
Yep.
cancer, stage 4.
Okay.
And that was why I got in the hospital in New Jersey,
Okay.
because I was on the Jersey side just before I got to New York. Thank God I didn't make it to New York.
Okay.
And the doctors were very, like they were the first time, very like, oh my God, this is it. And I was calm because I didn't feel
Did,
that
did,
way at all.
did they say it gently? Like, we've got some news to tell you
Oh,
that
very grave, very grave.
very
Just like
grave.
the first doctor, grave, grave and like deadly, like, we have to tell you,
Oh,
you're done.
silence, silence, and listen, because I'm
And I
only
was
gonna say
like,
it one time.
and I was
You know
like,
how it was?
uh-huh, you know? And again, I've already been through this road. I've already been through a deadly diagnosis. Now I'm getting another one, and I'm like, well, we'll see. Because as the last one, it's all about perspective.
It is.
Like,
Well, yeah,
it's all it is.
yeah,
Because though you may see something that looks a particular way
yeah,
or has a particular meaning,
yeah.
it doesn't mean that's actually what it is.
It doesn't.
And because I've gone on that journey, I know that. The doctors who diagnosed me, they haven't. So
Yeah,
they don't know that. They just know what they know according to what they've been given. And according to the information, the statistics, and what goes on in the United States,
yeah.
I'm going to die. Now, this time they gave me 6 months to a year. Thank
Okay,
God.
well, that's even better than last time because that
Yeah,
was
last time wasn't even
any
like
minute,
6 hours.
any minute, and they were even surprised you were there to. So now you've got six. What's the good news compared to last time when you say it that way? No, no.
It's unbelievable, really.
If you wanted to, like, imagine being a doctor. I've done no science. I barely passed it at school. Imagine telling someone a story. You're a doctor saying, "Hey, I've got 2 cases. One, I told someone they were going to die at any minute, and they 2015, 2021, they're still alive. So I was wrong." They're probably not going to say that.
No,
I
probably
mean,
not.
someone would have to really push them and say, "Give me some hope, doctor. Have you not heard of anybody that's
Please.
They might say, oh, there was one case, and that's only because you went back and told him what happened. That, hey, I'm back, I'm alive. And now this time, it's like the first time only. You've got more hope, really, which is 6 to 12 months. But Santa Vive, we've gone back to there,
In
and
Mexico.
and this is why I'm also someone that's very loyal to people that I've known for a long time, people that know me for a long time. I always, if you can find people that you trust that have proven their trust consistently, you're likely to trust them. I would have done the same. X happened, went somewhere else, friggin' lived. So I'm going to go back there if I'm.
Yeah.
And that's all you've done is just, and what a blessing that's happened, and that you had that. It just, the more while our lives are not perfect, yours, mine, anybody, I don't think anyone's life is perfect.
Yes.
including
Yeah, you're
really
right.
fucking rich people. And I have been around very, very rich people, like a mining magnate, right?
Mhm.
Mega rich. Um, but he has issues in his life in so many ways, and he's not always happy. In fact, sometimes he's
Mhm.
very unhappy. I mean, I keep telling myself, well, if I had all that money, I'd never be unhappy. I'd be too happy to. I don't know. It's we all have, you know, these issues in our lives.
Yeah.
But the thing that I asked, we talked about this before we recorded and came on, is I've become really fixated about, not fixated, passionate, interested in how do we live life as happily as we can when the shitty things appear to us, like bad news and
Mhm.
things that happen that we didn't actually even cause, or may have caused, or if any reason something awful has happened to us, and we get this devastating news. What do you think is the benefit of allowing us to take on that negativity and accept that as fact, as opposed to not?
Okay. Well, because first of all, anything that happens, whether it's really, really good or really, really bad, from our perspective,
Yeah.
is the same problem as my diagnosis. It's just our perspective. See, when I got this second diagnosis, I know there's something there that the universe is knocking on my door, this time on my head, and they're saying, Gary, we're
Okay.
going in another direction. And I no longer see anything as bad or good. As a matter of fact, when I received the news of this cancer, I wasn't even upset. And all the doctors kept saying, do you understand what this means? I said, yes, I do. I do understand. And they said, but you seem like that you're not understanding. And I said, no, I'm just not reacting.
Yes,
But
I
I
love that.
understand.
I love
I
that.
understand. I'm not
And
reacting.
especially with it being in the brain, they wanted to make
Correct.
sure. Do you understand what we're telling you? That you've got. That
You're right.
we just want to make sure,
You
for
really know.
legal purpose, maybe legal purposes, in case this hits us in the ass later on, because you do have brain cancer, Gary.
And you
You know,
are dying.
as do we need to call someone else who can translate what we just said to you? Is there someone we can call? In other words, is there someone else we can blame for this interpretation? Because we're going to, how about we do that? And we'll do it on the house, Gary. We'll do it on the house. We'll just call your
Here, I've
best
got the
friend,
dime.
your brother, your lover, whatever, and we'll tell them, your dog, this is what we're telling him. So we're leaving it on you. And if he doesn't get it, we don't want to get sued.
And that
And we're
really
going to
was
make a
kind of
notation of this and tell our secretary to put it in our file. So you got no leg to stand on. Your lawyer will tell you that too. That's
exactly. And that's
what it was.
really what was so, I think, amazing for them as well. Because I've been through this, and I know, really, I believe that the universe, God, the all that is sending me in another direction.
Yeah.
And whatever that direction is, however it looks, that's what it is. That's why I try to get people to realize that they're only getting a piece of somebody's knowledge. It doesn't mean they know the whole picture. And I've helped a lot of people who were
Yeah.
told they're going to die, they're it's hopeless, there's nothing they can do, and that is turned around. And they
Yeah.
not all of them went to Mexico. I mean, they've done all kinds of things all around the world.
Yeah.
So I can no longer live life believing that anything that happens to me is bad, and that includes, if I'm in the volcano and I get swallowed up by it,
Yeah.
that means I'm going in a new direction. And
Are you going to go? Are
again,
you planning on going somewhere where there's volcanoes?
where?
Are you
Where?
planning on going somewhere where there's volcanoes? Are you?
No, 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 I'm not. I'm not. But
That's
I'm
what
just saying that
I know what you're
people
saying.
look at death and terrible things as a bad thing. And I look at it as the adventure has shifted. We've gone from, the roller coaster was going one direction, and all of a sudden it went another direction. And if I don't go with it, then I'm creating suffering and strife and grief.
Yeah.
And so then the body is going to believe it. See, my body doesn't, in a sense, doesn't really believe this cancer,
Yeah.
but the medical was trying to get me to believe it.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I did believe my first cancer. I did believe I was
Yeah.
going to die.
Yeah.
But um but I didn't like hope to die and I
No,
didn't
no.
hope to live.
But that makes
I
sense
just
too,
accepted them
because
both.
anytime we're confronted with something new for the first
Yep.
time,
Yep.
and this was new in terms of actually being told death is actually happening. But even in your book, you had all these awarenesses have happened because of it, because then you also realized how that idea, that concept itself could be anything. It could be
Anything.
anything.
Yes.
I'm dying. We're all dying. None of
Well,
us,
we're all dying. Yeah.
well, as they say, none of us are getting out of this alive. You know,
No.
none
A
of us.
newborn baby is dying from the moment they're
Look,
born.
unless the scientists or the elite of the elite, the 1%, someone within the 1% finds a way for all of us to live forever. And as far as
Yeah.
I know, I don't know if that exists, but we're all going to die unless
Right.
eternal life is going to happen. Um, so I mean, but yet we don't live our lives as if we're going to die at any minute.
No,
We
no,
don't.
most people, no, we don't. And that, I think, is part of the problem in the world right now. People no longer accept death as a constant daily reality. You
No.
know, old prayers,
Yeah.
now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should
Yeah,
die
that
before I
before I
wake, I
wake,
pray the
pray the
Lord
Lord
the
my soul to
soul to
take.
take.
Yeah.
It's like people used to really know that that was a reality, and now they think they're going to find something out there is going to keep you alive forever. And we know that's just ridiculous. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Not
No.
gonna happen. No,
It's
no.
yeah. So I've noticed things too, like with different parts. Not the same thing, because I haven't been told that I was going to die, but I've had like a back problem before, and I was told that there was nothing that could be done about it. And
Right.
yes, there was something that could be done about it. It was a very simple procedure, and I had that
Uh-huh.
pain stopped. Um, I still get some parts of pain, but not to the extent where I'm bedridden like I was for so many months.
Yes.
And that was because I believed what that doctor had said, that nothing could be done, and I thought I'd have to live the rest of my life on painkillers, and knowing
Yes.
that there was an alternative. And it's so now it's like, and I think for me, it's the trick for me to try to be happy when things are, when we're told negative news, when it's something very factual that we can't even dispute it, but it's just, here's a fact, a statement of
Yep.
fact. It becomes harder to, it's like someone telling us like this is going to happen. I mean,
Yes.
that we got no reason to not believe them, like especially if there's someone who's consistently like being honest and truthful.
Uh-huh.
um and if it's negative, it's, we still got to live our lives in a way that helps us
Mhm.
make it as happy as possible, because and it's not like a trick. It's well, what's the point? I mean, isn't what's the point of living if you're just going
Right.
to be miserable and
Well, exactly. And again, suffering is really about the misery of the belief in whatever it is that they've told you. And again, you never know where that belief will go if you don't believe in it, if you don't give it a lot of energy,
yeah,
and that's kind of really how I've gotten through, all of this. I don't, again, you see a picture and at first glance, you might say, oh, that's really ugly. But then when you really look at it, you might see, oh, wow, that's really deep. So
yeah,
again, I I just don't attach to it anymore. And I
yeah,
think that's the gift of the first cancer. Um, I'm not sure though why the second cancer has come because there is really no reason it should be here,
yeah,
but yet it is. And
yeah,
I have to accept that too.
Yeah.
because I have to let go. Did I do something wrong? Should I have done more? Should I have done this? Should I have done that? But I have to let go of that because the fact of the matter is it's here.
I have
That's
some of
it.
that. I have some of those crazy moments myself when something shitty happens to me, and then it's like I have this like talk with God to myself in my own room, and
Mhm.
I'm like, what was I in a fucking previous life? A fucking sodomizer of children, a rapist? Was I some horrific person
What
that
was
should
going
be
on?
on me? I don't fucking hurt anybody like that doesn't want it, that doesn't ask
Right.
for it. I just don't. I don't go around doing that. It's like I always ask for consent, Gary. I think it's very important. Get the consent, you're fine. But it's sometimes that's that's Craig over there. He's a dead man walking too, because he was also given a diagnosis that he was
Same day. Yes. Yes.
he might come and say a quick just a hello, just say hello to Gary. I'm recording, so
Hey mate,
Hey,
how are
Greg. I'm
you?
good. How are you?
Craig.
Good mate, yeah. How you
Great to
been?
meet you. Great to meet you on camera.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about you, mate.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I just love her. She's fabulous.
I do too.
Oh,
Excellent.
I've got a recording of it too, so I've got evidence.
Oh no, I'm in
Oh,
trouble
no, you're in
now.
trouble.
So mate, take care.
All right. Take care. Great to meet you.
Merry Christmas.
Okay. Merry Christmas to you too.
Okay, mate. See ya.
Bye bye.
Yeah, so Craig had a cancer a few years ago, and he had the same issue. That was in 2000 and when was it? 2009. It's 2020.
2009.
That's
21 now. Yeah, and
Still going, and everything is fine. Yep.
yeah,
And that was stage 4 as well, because mine's stage 4 as well.
Yeah.
So.
yeah.
Yeah.
And as you know, Anita Moyani, who
Yes.
you adore, I've read
Stage
her book,
4.
Dying to
Right.
Live. Yeah, she was stage 4. She had lumps and everything, and
Yeah, and she was
Yeah,
on
like
her deathbed.
massive lumps.
Yeah, they only gave her 45 minutes to live. We all have
gave
this
her 45 minutes.
time. 45 minutes to live. She
Well,
was her organs were failing. Her
Yeah.
organs were failing.
But the interesting thing is, I guess doctors aren't going to transmit that knowledge, not because they may not know it, but because it may be irrelevant at the time, because their job really, they have a job, and their job is to read what's in front of them.
Right.
This is what they have to say to the person, because they can't, the person's going there for a reason. They're not going there because they're well, I guess.
Correct.
So
And like you said, they're locked in
They're locked
to a
in.
certain thing. They have to read and do and say what the protocol tells them to do.
Because imagine if they were to say, okay, now here's the situation, facts, right? This is what you've got.
Right.
You've got 6 to 12 months to live based on this, based on evidence, based on what we do. Now imagine if they were to say, but you know what? There was a guy in Gary Ramsey, and he was told he could die at any minute, and that was many years ago. He's still alive. He's kicking. He's fine. There was Anita Moyani. She was told she had 45 minutes. Decades later, she's still alive. I think it's decades. She's still alive.
Oh yeah,
She's still well.
it's
So,
over there. Yeah.
and other cases, Craig,
Yeah.
it's
There's another
terminal,
one. We've got
alive.
3.
Yeah.
Yep.
3. It's like because I guess if a doctor was to say that to a patient, then that would be very confusing to them.
Yes. Yes.
And
Well, remember, because
we
it
all
doesn't
want
fit.
certainty in our lives.
Yes. Yes. And remember, it doesn't fit their program.
No.
Again, we have to remember school is a programming.
Yeah.
And they say if you see this and this and this, then it's that. As a matter of fact, I went to a pre-med, and that's one of the reasons I dropped, because all it was look, identify, and that's it. There was, like my mind was like, well, why? Why is that? That was like, no. Look, identify, and tell us what it is, and that's it. And so, and I guess that's the science mind, but God knows science is pretty rigid as well. Because remember, they control the science world as well. You
Yes.
can't get money for certain studies, uh, you,
No.
because they don't support them.
No.
So we have to remember the world is turning into Nazi Germany.
Yes.
We have
Yeah.
to
Yes.
remember it really is, and that if you want to survive it, you got to get out of the Nazi thinking.
Yeah.
There's no other way to do it.
And you know, Gary, and
Yeah.
another thing too is that unless something happens to us directly,
Yes.
we do have a hard time identifying its importance. Once something happens to us, whatever it is,
Right.
we look at the world differently because we've experienced it. And
Correct.
this is something that, like, I know I only look like I'm in my 20s, but I'm a bit older than that. When I was younger, you know, you speak to older people and they always say, oh, when you're older, you'll understand. When you experience that, you'll understand. You don't have the experience or whatever. But I mean, all that stuff is just them seeing their perspective and them knowing something that one doesn't know until they experience it. So until we experience something, and that's why, you know, things like, if we really looked at the world and if we really thought about the fact that, you know, if we put money into things like cancer, and if we put more resources into curing diseases and making us healthier and live longer, really the whole world needs to understand we're all going to die. So why not put more resources into things that can help us?
Correct.
Instead of things that don't really fucking help us, like Nike shoes. I mean, sorry, it's
and remember, they don't really want to cure cancer. They really want to keep it going.
I want to
It's
keep
a
going.
money maker. It's a money maker. It's a huge money. And again, you know, again, they just wanted me to follow the cancer. They wanted to give me stuff to keep me alive for the year. That's what they wanted. So again, it's a system that is really about death and dying, although they pretend they want to keep you alive. And I think that's the game. I think most of the medical corptocracy in the world is playing. Pharmaceutical, they're pretending they want to keep you alive, but they really don't. Let's face it, it's almost 8 billion people on the planet.
Yeah.
They could lose 5 billion and still have too many people.
Yeah.
Still have too
many. And it's the people that have, like, that do have a lot of money and that do donate and that do understand the importance of life.
Yes.
The sacredness of life and good health and all those things. They're the ones that get it. But it's the ones who are, you know, making money and watching the markets.
Right.
And like, let's
looking at numbers. Yeah.
Looking at numbers and let's see the money, you know, let's see those numbers grow. And oh no, if we put money there, that's just a waste of money. It's the world should start, if we all started thinking more about each other and how it's a benefit to everybody. If we cared more about each other, it's just a benefit because we're all going to be in the same boat, all of us.
Right.
So why would you not want to, you know, care about people?
Yes.
And, you know, and this is something that I really started to think about all that stuff when my mother passed in 2018.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, people always ring when you don't want them to ring and never when you want them to call, But like, that really affected me, that experience of that loss of my mother and how I was doing my law stuff and I was all interested in my career and progressing. But afterwards, it really I started to really reflect on everything and the loss, the pain. And that's when I realized people are irreplaceable.
Oh, right. Absolutely.
They're so important. And we're, you know, and it just, I guess it kind of like, and that's why I try to live a life as more purposeful as I can. I'm certainly not the most Zen person, but I'm so much better than I used to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really what the journey is about. It's about expansion and growth. And ultimately, we're all going to reach death anyway. And
Yeah.
how expanded are you during that?
Yeah.
And how well can you go on that journey and really bring a lot of peace and ease and light to it?
Yeah. And that's what you
And that's
do. And that's what you
all
do.
I want.
You bring all this light, and you really you serve people. You're a beautiful light into this world, and you help so many people. And it's I was actually listening to, I don't listen to podcasts all the time, but I happened to listen to a podcast,
Yes.
and it was Wayne Dyer podcast, and it
Oh,
was
love
about,
Wayne.
yeah,
Yes.
and it was about service, that we're all here to serve, and that is the
Exactly.
highest, our highest like awareness, that
Yes.
we're all meant to be of service to each other. And
Absolutely.
it was just, and it was like, I thought of Gary Ramsey, and I thought he's that, and he as an example, he's an excellent example of that, and his example, the way he is, has affected me.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's the only thing we can ever really give and really help people with. So I thank you for those tears, and I thank you for that lovely, lovely talk, that lovely line.
Yeah.
So, uh, well, you
And
are so welcome. And I'm gonna,
yeah,
keep on this journey, and I just know it's gonna go the way it needs to go. I'm not afraid. I'm never afraid.
I know.
Yeah,
And
really
that's
not.
when I first heard about it, when you first told me what was happening, this was happening, I was upset, and I told you that, this is how I was devastated by that news.
Sure.
But I also became aware too that I'm feeling like it's all over for him or something. It's because I just took that news as fact, and then I started to think, he's the one going through this, not me. And what can I do? How best can I support Gary, or show that I care and love Gary? And it's not by putting him in a position of consoling me, but it's about being there the way he needs me to be there. And you talked about this in your first book, how, of course, your friends, people close, were really upset by this news, but their upset was also causing you extra distress on top of the
Correct.
stuff that you got to deal with, because you're having to
Correct.
console them. And then,
Yep.
yeah, and it was like, and this was my first experience of that. And then I had that aha moment of, oh, this is what he was talking about. And so I decided to conscientiously, be honest,
Mm-hmm.
by letting you know, this is how I feel. This is not good news, Gary. This is horrible. This is really
No, it was not good
Oh,
news.
I know you're like, yay, whatever, but I feel like this. Oh, it was so sad. I was crying in tears, and I had like the worst couple of that week was really, really full on
Wow.
processing that news. And but then I was also like, okay, what are some truths I can give? Because it would be bullshit for me to say, you'll be right, mate, don't worry about it. But
Yeah.
it was like, also, actually, you will be right.
Yeah.
When I went through
And
the
again,
process of, he's had this before, he's
Mhm.
gone on a journey,
Yep.
and he was good. I'm also not stupid. I know that it may not be good, and I know that you know that more than anyone.
Yeah. And it could absolutely go the other way.
Yeah.
And I'm good with whatever happens. I really do have the faith that the universe, God, and everything is taking me where it needs me.
Yeah.
And that's all I want to do. I do want to serve. I do want to serve. That's
Yeah.
That's been my key focus, especially the last 20 years of my life.
Yeah.
And I just want to do the right thing according to me. And I
Yeah.
don't want to be led by somebody's psychotic nonsense. I
Yeah.
want it to be about what I feel is the right thing to do. And if that death is at the end of it, which it is for everybody anyway,
Yeah.
then so be it. But I can't get into, the craziness of this, what this world is turning into with all of this, psychosis around dying. It's like, guys, that's when you're born, you're dying. The minute you're born, you're dying.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is.
And there are babies that die. There are toddlers that die.
And there are toddlers and small children and accidents and
6
oh my God.
6 months old, 6 day olds, 6 hour olds. There's
Yeah.
6-year olds. It's you know, it's this is a thing that happens. It could be anything. You know, there are, you know, it's people who lose their sight, people who lose their hair, people that lose their arms, people that lose their legs. It's we never know what's going to happen, and that's what gets me. That's what gets me out of like taking unhappy news, letting it ruin my whole life. Is like I try to tell myself, okay, that's one fact. Another fact is I'm not starving in Africa.
Yes,
you know, I know I'm not starving because I'm big. I'm not like a tiny little, you know, starving African that can't move. I'm not like, you know, a 12-year-old child bride, you know.
Yep.
I'm not
being sold into
into slavery. I'm not lost at sea somewhere. I'm not being eaten by a shark. I'm not.
But what we've always got to remember,
Craig's laughing at that because he knows how much I love going to the beach.
But the universe is always sending us in a direction, and no matter what it looks like, it's really a direction we need to grow, even if it is the shark. It's a direction we need to go.
Right. Exactly.
And we're fulfilling something, no matter how ridiculous it may look on the outside. And that's really how what I tell most of the people that, you know, follow me.
And that's what you've been doing since your whole experience. You've just put yourself out there and spread the word. And for people that don't understand it, it's not an ego thing. It's not an arrogance thing. All you're trying to do is just say, this is what happened to me. And this is the outcome, or this is what's different to that, obviously. Yes. And you're just saying that. And it's just to let people know, to have some kind of, I guess, social proof or evidence of something different. And you know, like I mean, like, you know, for me it's like getting a law degree, getting in, for instance, and just going through all that and passing. And you know, it's all a journey. Anything that we do, it's, you know, whether
it's a journey. And if you can stay
skating, it's hockey, it's
and
writing a book,
trying to force it to be a certain way or to do something that you want it to do, instead saying, well, what have you come to show me? That's what I do. What has this cancer, this situation, what is it coming to show me? And where do I need to go with it? And that's where I think the grace of God always lies. And that's what I follow. And we will see where this one goes.
We will see where this one goes.
Yes.
And we will see where this one goes. And it's we don't know. But the one thing that I do know is that you've got this level of so much self-awareness around it, and you're just in an optimal position